This telecast is available in high definition, presented by Vizio. Down on the sidelines, here's Shannon Spake.
Well, Sean, Taj Boyd is a senior, a 3-year starter who's seen just about everything. That is until today. That's because today's the first time Boyd or any other player on the Clemson team, including head coach Dabo Swinney, will play a game here at the Carrier Dome. Now, because of that, yesterday when they landed in Syracuse, the very first thing that they did was they came by the dome and they walked around. Swinney wanted his players to be able to visualize this location overnight. Now, Swinney told me 2 things that could challenge his team: the proximity of the fans and the noise. But I did catch up with Swinney moments ago. He looked at me and he said, "This place is awesome."
And he'll have his offense on the field first as Clemson won the toss and will receive. Ryan Norton to kick off for Syracuse, clad in the blue. Clemson in white. TJ Green, Jamon Hopper back deep, and we're underway. Comes down at the 6 to Hopper. And then they call G-Hop. Slipped down at the 18-yard line. Couldn't hop across the 20. Here comes Taj Boyd, the senior from Hampton, Virginia. 26-5 in his career as the starting quarterback. School record in total offense, passed Charlie Whitehurst last week. And only Philip Rivers of NC State responsible for more total touchdowns in the ACC than Boyd's 102. 43 points per game. Swung out to Sammy Watkins, one of the best receivers in the country, and a quality gain on first down. Chased out by Dyshawn Davis, and that Clemson sideline already got a Carrier Dome lesson. Very little room over there. You need to get out of the way when the players come across the boundary because there isn't much room to back up. Gain of 7, 2nd and 3. Swung to the near side to Adam Humphries. And a big gain down the near sideline. Bumped across the near sideline by Jeremy Wilkes, a Syracuse safety.
Well, right there was a lesson on tackling angles. Estridge comes in, the ball's bounced out to him, and he just got a dose of the speed of Clemson. Bad angle, and Humphries was past him.
On 1st and 10, the play fake by Boyd as a man wide open. Humphries behind the defense, and he will score. For the 2nd game in a row, Dabo Swinney's Clemson Tigers score on their 3rd play from scrimmage. They did it less than a half minute into the game last week at home against Wake Forest. And Scott Schaefer's worst nightmare has been realized. He said yesterday we need to get off to a good start, and that one does not qualify as a good start for Syracuse. Extra point up and good by Chandler Catanzaro. 60-yard touchdown pass. And Scott Schaefer already trying to coach up the defense on the near sideline. Longest play of the year for Adam Humphries in his first touchdown reception of the season.
When you have a great player, sometimes you get mesmerized. Right here, Rashard Anderson, number 9, jumps, and the safety jumps inside. Why? Because you're afraid of Sammy Watkins. So you just throw a little fake to him, and you have number 13 for Clemson, Adam Humphries, running wide open and free. Well executed. Chad Morris will do a lot of different things with Sammy Watkins to confuse the defense, because as a defense, you must account for his whereabouts.
That takes Taj Boyd over 10,000 yards of total offense. Just the 3rd player in ACC history to do that, along with Philip Rivers and the former Georgia Tech quarterback Joe Hamilton. One of the great players in the history of this conference, the history of Clemson football. Heisman Trophy candidate Taj Boyd. He and his Tigers off to a perfect start. On the board 38 seconds in, and they try a little onside kick that goes out of bounds. Bradley Pinion kicking off. He's also their punter. Pat Garvey, outstanding referee, leading this ACC officiating crew.
You know, I love the aggressive call, and frankly,
kick out of bounds, kicking team, 5-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the kick. First down.
That's based off a scouting report. Number 21, Julian Wiggum, leaves early, and they hit that spot right there, and they had it. They just couldn't execute the high onside kick. Good call.
Terrell Hunt in Syracuse, great field position to start the game. Redshirt sophomore from Rosedale, New York City. Second career start. They handed it off to Jerome Smith. That's going to be the formula for much of the day for Syracuse. They want to be physical, but counter the power running game with up-tempo offense and a quick passing attack. Hunt on a design roll to the right. Throws incomplete. Ashton Broyle couldn't catch it. Let's look at impact players for Syracuse, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
You talk about if they want to make a difference, they have to get it going in a running game. Jerome Smith, Prince Tyson Gully, both of them, nice 1-2 combination for Syracuse. And on defense, number 11, Marquise Spruill will be all over the field.
Scott Schaefer said it was important for his team to come out relaxed. He thought they were very tight when they lost at Northwestern. They don't look loose to start this game either. Hunt pulls it down and runs. He's short of the first down by about 3.5 yards. Tried to duck under the hit from Stephon Anthony, the linebacker. And Syracuse is going to punt. So a quick 3 and out after the quick strike Clemson 60-yard touchdown. They went 82 yards in 3 plays. Riley Dixon is the punter. And Adam Humphries is back deep. Dixon was not the starting punter at the beginning of the year. He's a walk-on. Took over for Jonathan Fisher, who struggled to start the year. And the Orange down it inside the 15-yard line. Richie Desir down there to down it. Boyd and the Tigers back on the attack right after this. Your Dome in Syracuse, New York. Clemson already on top, 7-0. Taking on the Orange, coached by Scott Schaefer in his first year as head coach here. He was the defensive coordinator under Doug Marrone for the last 4 seasons. Helped Coach Marrone get this program back on track. Coach, of course, left for the Buffalo Bills. Here's the tight end, Stanton Seckinger. Huge chunks of offense on just about all 4 plays for Clemson. Engineered by Taj Boyd. That's an 18-yard gain.
Well, it's mental errors that's killing the Syracuse defense right now. That's just a kind of a weak play action pass. You have to be able to read the lineman in Taj Boyd's eyes.
Boyd pressured for the first time and gets taken down behind the line of scrimmage. Darrell Eskridge with help from Dyshawn Davis with the first positive play for the Syracuse defense of the day. And you saw the graphic. Clemson does not turn the ball over. A lot of times you're going to pull off a big upset. The favorite has to help you. Only 2 turnovers for Clemson all year long, tied with Oregon and Louisville for the fewest in the nation. All 3 of them, not surprisingly, are in the top 10. Boyd throws, caught far sideline by Sam Cooper. Incomplete now. It came out, never had possession, therefore just an incomplete pass. Richie Desir, Keon Lynn, Dyshawn Davis nearby, and the crowd trying to get back engaged, bother the offensive Chad Morris.
Exactly.
Tigers delivered a stunning quick strike. Timeout Syracuse. They were confused.
Timeout Syracuse. First timeout.
They might have had too many men on the field, which is one way to stop the Clemson Tigers.
ESPN College Football is presented by new Raspberry 5-Hour Energy. Available for a limited time. Get yours now. And in part by Kingsford Charcoal. Get your grills, charcoal, and other tailgate essentials at the Home Depot.
Back at Syracuse University on homecoming weekend. Clemson leading 7-0. After a Syracuse timeout, looking at 3rd down and 15. Flags down.
Offside, defense with contact, 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Let's go back and take a look at why Scott Schaefer had to call a timeout.
It's number 6, Richie Desir, the punt returner. So you have to have communication on the field and communication on the sidelines. That was a wasted play and a wasted timeout.
Desir apparently thought it was 4th down and Clemson was going to punt, but it's only 3rd down. They had 12 men on the field. Now 3rd down and 10 after the penalty. Clemson excellent on 3rd down. Boyd given time, throws, 1st down. Watkins got walloped, but had the yardage. Marquise Sproul, the middle linebacker, belted him at the 42. They needed 10 and got 11.
Well, there's something to be said about communication and working together. This is Sammy Watkins sitting in the open area, and that's recognition. That's Tampa 2. There's a hole in the middle. Sammy Watkins finds that hole, and Taj Boyd trusts to throw him open at the 1st down marker.
5-yard penalty was big, as it turned out. Inside handoff to Roderick McDowell, and he's tackled in the open field by Richie Desir, the would-be punt returner. And here are impact players for Clemson, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
We'll take a look at Clemson, and the impact is Sammy Watkins right there. He has his impact with or without the ball. Bryant, a big-time talent, number 1, and Vic Beasley on defense.
Roderick McDowell tried the middle. Sproul was there again. They need Martavis Bryant to be more of an impact player. Chad Morris told us the other day he's a lot of talent, doesn't always get the most out of it, and Mike Williams, the true freshman, is pushing him for playing time. 3rd down and 4, 4 minutes in. Blitz, pass batted down and nearly intercepted. Cameron Lynch, leading tackler for Syracuse, brought the pressure, and that's been a hallmark of Syracuse defense under Scott Schaefer.
Well, the blitz read is on Taj Boyd and Bryant. Bryant's going to look to go to Boyd out on the corner, so they're going to let the blitzer come free. And Lynch does a good job of not going for the knees, but going up and playing the ball. Showed a little vertical there right there. Jim Mayheim would have been impressed with that.
Legendary Syracuse basketball coach, who is among the big crowd here today. Bradley Pinion punts. Desir's back deep, appropriately so. Falls for a fair catch and makes it near the 13-yard line. 39-yard punt. So perhaps that helped Syracuse settle in a little bit, because they were on their heels from the opening seconds of this game.
And I think a problem some teams have is this is such a big game and the crowd's into it. They might be overexcited, then you lose a little bit of concentration. Now they're settled in, everything's normal, let's just play football.
Scott Schaefer told Terrell Hunt, you can't make it a battle of you against Boyd, just focus on your job. Dumps it short for a loss as Prince Tyson Gully slipped down trying to turn the corner, with Corey Crawford nearby for much improved Clemson defense. Tyson Gully back to the 14-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 9. Second year for the Clemson defense under Brent Venables, formerly the defensive coordinator at Clemson. And it is a much improved group.
Yeah, especially on that front 7, Sean. They're really talented, and they have the ability to get pressure on a passer with just 4, which allows him flexibility in the coverages that he calls behind that pressure.
Syracuse coach is very concerned about that Clemson defensive line. Hunt pulls it down and runs and has a 1st down. Across the 24-yard line. That's a dimension he brings that his predecessor, Drew Allen, did not. 11-yard gain.
He needs to take this all day, every time that he has it. Anything to keep the sticks moving and stay on schedule.
Tyson Gully rejected at the line of scrimmage by Grady Jarrett. We talked about the Syracuse coach's respect for that defensive line at Clemson. We talked to Pat Perlis, the offensive line coach, yesterday, and first man he mentioned was Grady Jarrett. What a handful he is.
To be honest with you, the first guy that stood out on film to me was Grady Jarrett.
Might have been a lateral to Tyson Gully, and he's taken down for a loss. Darius Robinson made the tackle. Here's Chris Cotter.
Sean, time for a Taco Bell studio update, and for that we send you out to the Big House Fitz Tucson with an 8-yard touchdown run for the Michigan Wolverines. They're leading the Minnesota Gophers 7-0 in the battle for the Little Brown Jug.
They have dominated that rivalry.
All right.
19 out of the last 20 of the win column.
My channels are not
against
right.
the Gophers for Michigan. 3rd and 14 and movement all over the place.
False start. Offense number 72. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Ivan Foy, the right tackle. We're not far from Canada. A lot of that action would have been all right in Canada, but not under these rules.
I think, Sean, here you got to run a safe call. It's 3rd and 19. You don't want to turn the ball over. You know you're facing a vicious pass rush. Punt and play defense. That's the way they have to play right now.
Hunt was not the starting quarterback to begin the year. He lost the competition in the summer to Drew Allen, a transfer from Oklahoma. Dangerous pass, and Smith got hammered by Spencer Shuey.
That's the safe call. I mean, the screen is safe because they know they're going to.
Your Jerome Smith.
No, except because you have a playmaker, the unsung hero. Very instinctive. Spencer Shuey coming in, understanding 3rd and 19. He's thinking what I was thinking, safe call. Well, screen's safe, so he played the screen, and I love the fact that he wrapped him up.
Riley Dixon on the punt. And that's a bomb. What a punt. Humphreys watches it go. And the walk-on from right down the straight. Christian Brothers Academy here in Syracuse just became the starting punter a couple of weeks ago. The longest punt of his brief career. Down by Darius Kelly. 75-yard kick by Dixon. We mentioned a historic day for Syracuse football, their first ACC conference game. Historic day for Riley Dixon. That 75-yard punt that changed field positions, the longest in school history by 2 yards. Sean Reale against Clemson in the bowl game back in 1995, the only previous meeting between these two schools, won by Syracuse 41-0. The Gator Bowl also kicked a 73-yarder, as did Rob Long against South Florida in 2007. Dixon bettered those two by 2 yards. And Zach Brooks carried on first down for Clemson across the 10 to the 14-yard line. They're coaching up. Terrell Hunt on the sideline is his opposite number. And fellow number 10, Taj Boyd, leads Clemson. And his pass looks like it hit the turf. They're ruling it a catch, I believe, by Mike Williams.
And Mike Williams is alternating with Martavis Bryant. Yeah, easy. Arms under. Easy call for the officials to make.
Easy for them, not as easy for me. Pistol now. Zach Brown rips through the middle. And has 13 more. Dyshawn Davis made the tackle. Help from the safety, Jeremy Wilkes.
Well, they're changing the line of scrimmage. They're getting a hat for hat, helmet on helmet, and nobody's filling or crashing. And when you have that much space and you don't get touched, normally the next guy to touch it will be the safety.
The offensive line didn't move. Trick play. They throw it back to Zach Brooks with a posse of blockers. Finally ridden out of bounds at the 40-yard line of Syracuse by Keon Lynn. Into their bag of tricks, successfully so. 23-yard gain.
Well, that's the Sammy Watkins right there, the effect. He's looking right at Sammy Watkins, number 2. Everybody's flowing from Syracuse to that way, and you set up the throwback screen. Sammy Watkins is such an impact player. When he doesn't have the ball, he's a major impact on the defenses and what they call.
Taj Boyd Steps up away from the rush, running out of time, got back to the line of scrimmage. Pursued by Eric Chrome, defensive tackle junior from Detroit. Chad Morris is the offensive coordinator. Clearly one of the brightest minds in offensive football. Certainly will be a head coach someday soon. Very happy at Clemson, well compensated. Isn't going to leave for just any head coaching opportunity. Brooks on the inside handoff again, pulled down by Robert Welsh. Defensive end from Bayshore, New York. It'll be 3rd down.
And just to go back to Chad Morris, compensated well over $1 million, and I think he's worth every penny, Sean. I watch him work in practice, and the plays that he calls, he is outstanding.
And a lot of talent with which to work, including that man. They spread the field. 3rd and 7. Just inside the 36. 5-man rush. Wide open. Roderick McDowell. First down. Yanked down by Wayne Morgan. 15-yard gain and another first down.
Well, Syracuse is confused. This is dealer's choice. You have Sammy Watkins running in the middle. Then you have Hot Rod right there running down the sideline with nobody near him. They're very confused on defense. They got to get those corrections mentally or they'll get shredded.
It's going to drive Scott Schaefer crazy with his defensive background. Good tackle by Marquise Sproul as he stood up Roderick McDowell, who was a question mark during the week with an ankle injury, but McDowell obviously in there today. Clemson has run 18 plays from scrimmage. 8 of them have gone for 10 yards or more. Nearly half of their plays have gone for double digits, including the 60-yard touchdown. Adam Humphries.
You hit on it, Sean. They just have weapons all over the field, and he spreads the ball to all his weapons.
Timeout Clemson this time. With 4.5 minutes to go in the first quarter, the Tigers leading 7-0 and poised to score again. Dome, Clemson leading 7-0. That was a Syracuse timeout. The official pointed in the wrong direction. During that timeout, Scott Schaefer really got after his defense.
Well, Sean, I think the big thing is the mental mistakes that they're making. Guys wide open.
Playing without Brandon Reddish, one of their best cornerbacks, out with a leg injury. 2nd and 9, they're showing blitz. Boyd looks to the sideline for guidance.
Now, if you're Syracuse, you have to call that blitz off because they have a blitz beater. So you got to counter by audible, and they're audible.
They still bring pressure, and they don't get there. Jump ball caught inside the 1-yard line by Sammy Watkins with Keon Lynn in coverage. 1st and goal, Clemson.
The reason why you call it off, because now they have a protection to throw this back shoulder fade to Sammy Watkins. And you see the teamwork and the chemistry between Boyd and Watkins. The ball placed right where it needs to be.
18-yard gain, 3rd catch for Watkins. His 28th of the year. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Zach Brooks. Even the longest punt in Syracuse history didn't slow down the Clemson Tigers for very long. They went 92 yards after the 75-yard punt in 10 plays. And now Coach Schaefer getting after his offensive line. Chandler Catanzaro, the best kicker in the country according to Coach Sweeney, and hard to argue based on his performance throughout the years, adds the extra point. Tonight on ABC's Saturday Night Football, it's the Ohio State Buckeyes in Evanston to take on Northwestern, both teams undefeated. Presented by Windows, big part of Tailgate Week, fired up by Kingsford Charcoal. That's tonight at 8, 5 Pacific. Longest winning streak in the country belongs to Ohio State. 17 in a row, and a solid return to action last week for Braxton Miller against Wisconsin.
What a great scene that will be in Evanston. Fans are fired up, and Braxton Miller, to me, Sean, he erased any quarterback controversy between he and Kenny Guyton.
Dave Pasch said earlier today on ESPN, wonderful scene there along Lake Michigan at Northwestern University, home of the second best communication school in the country. Here at Syracuse, they like to believe the Newhouse School is #1. And who are we to argue? A couple of youngsters back deep for Syracuse. Off the hands of Devontae McFarland. He picks it up. And the redshirt freshman got to about the 23. Here's Shannon Spake.
Well, Sean, Scott Schaefer moments ago, extremely emotional, fired up, came over to his offensive line. The message was simple. He said, go to work right now. He said it at the top of his voice. But guys, he told us yesterday, we have to out-physical them. We have to play tougher, and he is challenging his line right now.
Sometimes you got to attack the heart, go at their ego, and challenge their manhood. I mean, that's just the way it happens on the sidelines. Let's see if they respond.
Just athletically, they really cannot match up. Hunt given time by that line. Flag thrown. He spins down across the 30, but thrown where you'd expect a holding call. Spencer Shuey made the tackle.
Holding, offense from the 55. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Rob Trudeau, the right guard. Excuse me, the left guard, making his 14th straight start. Called for holding.
It's another negative play. This offense isn't built for plays downfield.
Ashton broiled. 3-yard gain. Robert Smith, the safety, made the tackle. Here's Chris Cotter in the studio.
Sean, an update on the battle for the Little Brown Jug. This time it's Minnesota with the score. Mitch Leidner's going to find Max Williams 7 yards out to tie this one up at 7 apiece. Sean?
All right, Chris, thank you very much. Second down at 18. Broiled open over the middle. He got lightly sauteed at the 22-yard line. Martin Jenkins and Robert Smith combined on the stop.
And one thing you're noticing is that if the catch is made by Syracuse, there's a Clemson defender on him now.
Broiled the catch again, but he's about 2 yards short of the first down. So it'll be 4th down at the 31-yard line. Then Scott Schaefer sends the punter back out. And Scott Schaefer was a realist. They scored 50 points the last 2 games, but it was against Wagner and Tulane. And he knew that was a huge difference in the level of competition they're going to face today. They get a better idea about where they are, and particularly about how good Terrell Hunt is against this competition. Dixon. Another good one. Adam Humphries decided to forego the fair catch, and he got swarmed immediately at the 25-yard line. Darius Kelly leading the coverage unit for Syracuse.
Good job of Darius coming in with his feet under control, not getting there before the punt arrives, and making a good solid tackle. This is where turnovers are created. Humphries does a good job of securing that ball.
44-yard punt, killing Dixon's average today.
That's still pretty good.
14-0. Clemson has done just about whatever it wants on both sides of the ball. Roderick McDowell dropped for a 1-yard loss by Ron Thompson, freshman from Southfield, Michigan.
You know, you have to account for Sammy Watkins, and right now Syracuse is not accounting for him. He's been running wide open on previous plays. One guy you want to take out, it's number 2, Sammy Watkins.
Boyd steps up, across the line of scrimmage, has the first down, and he's out to the 40. Josh Kirkland, backup linebacker, will be credited with the tackle. Minute and a half to go in the first quarter, a 16-yard gain.
So much a part of this is that every offense that we see every week, they take the quarterback's throwing lanes and turn them into running lanes and get 10 yards and get down and protect themselves.
McDowell, another double-digit gainer. Jeremy Wilkes, the safety, called upon to make the tackle with help from Kirkland. And Clemson across midfield again.
You get a lot of two-back looks, Sean. When you have a two-back look, now they don't, but the previous play, you have to have somebody in that box. The safety has to come down and get an extra head in there to stop the run.
McDowell bounced off the tackle of Marquise Sproul and made his way to the 42. Chuck Bulla, the defensive coordinator, was talking about that yesterday. A lot of times when you play a team, even a really good team, usually there's one thing or the other you have to concentrate on. But when you play a team like this that has so many great individual talents on offense and can run and pass, throw it short and long, and athletically it's a mismatch, very hard if you're the defensive coordinator of his task today. Boyd looking deep, another man wide open. It's Humphreys again. That looks familiar. Touchdown. Second score of the quarter for Humphreys, both of them from long range. 60-yard touchdown, now a 42-yarder. Boyd's thrown for 215 in the quarter. Trying to build a Heisman candidacy. That'll help. And right now, to be totally fair about it, even the Syracuse coaches look like they're a little confused about how to solve many problems they're facing.
Yeah, and right now they're having coverage breakdowns. This is a wheel route. We hear about this all the time. Humphreys, number 13, is going to come out to the flat and just take off down the sidelines. And the safety is occupied by your guy, number 2, Sammy Watkins. He's going to come out, settle a little bit, then shoot down the sidelines. And the safety, Eskridge, is over there late. And the ball is perfectly thrown in stride. And Humphreys is able to seal the deal.
Well, schematically, they need to figure that one out as a coaching staff, because Clemson's going to run that play again. He's going to be 40 yards down the field open every time.
Well, he's a pressure guy. Coach Schaefer's a pressure guy. Well, you can't pressure him. They tried to pressure him. Then you're having one-on-one on the corners, and you just throw it to Sammy Watkins to win the jump ball. And so what you have to do now is settle down and maybe play a little bit for a while, bend but don't break defense, as opposed to bringing pressure because of the mental stakes behind you.
And that's hard to do. Hard to go against character, just as they're an up-tempo offense. And you asked Coach Schaefer the question yesterday, but do you really want to get into an up-tempo game with perhaps the best up-tempo team in the country in Clemson? The answer so far would be a resounding no. Devontae McFarland taken down shy of the 20 by Gary Peters. 10 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Dabo Sweeney told us during the week there are 10 or 12 teams that he believes could win a national championship. His team is one of them. And they look very much like a team that is so good in all facets. That is a very realistic possibility.
Yeah, especially improved on defense. When you answer questions, you want to be who you are, but if you're not doing it well, you need to be somebody else.
Jerome Smith, 1,000-yard rusher last year. And a quality gain, unlikely the last play of the quarter, and it will be. He got 17 yards before Martin Jenkins and Robert Smith took him to the turf. A dominating performance by Clemson, giving Syracuse a very rude welcome to the ACC on homecoming at the Carrier Dome. It's felt like home in the end zone for Adam Humphreys. .283 yards of offense in the first quarter. Clemson leads 21-0 here in Syracuse. Among those here, the former Tiger All-American C.J. Spiller, now a member of the Buffalo Bills, about 2.5 hours away, playing for the former Syracuse head coach Doug Marrone. I think C.J.'s enjoying this much more than Coach Marrone right now. Here's Jerome Smith ripping through again. Touchdown, Syracuse, 76 yards. Ryan Norton on for the extra point. Longest play of the season for Syracuse. Jerome Smith, outstanding running back from Baird, Delaware. Rushed for nearly 1,200 yards a year ago.
Sean, a good center is able to get to the second level. Watch Mackie McPherson open this hole up. He's going to come to the double team and go up to number 7, Tony Stewart, which clears the way for Jerome Smith. The thing that surprises me a little bit here is the speed by the big man. Jerome Smith runs with power, plays with passion. But that starts up front with a center that can come off the double team and get up to the second level to spring Jerome Smith free.
8th touchdown of the year for Smith. That leads all ACC players. CJ Spiller didn't like it. Of course, the Bills have the weekend off. They played Thursday night in Cleveland. Jerome Smith, we talked yesterday to him, to Terrell Hunt, about overcoming adversity in a football game. There's a young man whose dad was in prison from the time Jerome was 3 years old until he was 15, charged in the beating death of another human being. He's dealt with worse than being behind 21-0 in a football game, that's for sure. Jermon Hopper to the 25-yard line. Here's Chris Cotter in the studio.
Sean, time for the Dr. Pepper 10 conference update. Let's keep it in the ACC. Georgia Tech's option working to perfection here down in Miami. Charles Perkins with the 31-yard touchdown run. Tech has 181 yards rushing in a little more than a quarter. They're leading by 10 over Miami.
Wishbone. It's tough to stop. Assignment football.
That score has brought this crowd back to life. And this Clemson offense has demonstrated it can quiet the crowd very quickly. Taj Boyd, 10 out of 12, hands it off to Roderick McDowell. And he's to the 32-yard line for a gain of 8. Marquez Hodge made the tackle for the Cuse.
The same issue, Sean. When they have that many people in the box of the offense, you have to get another guy up there, or they're going to shred you for 5 yards because they have a helmet for helmet on defenders.
Out of the pistol. Good move behind the line of scrimmage by McDowell to get away from the Syracuse pressure. He's very near another first down at the 34-yard line. They're going to mark him short. They're going to 568 here, a 3rd down and 1.
And 568 should be everybody blitz. You take your chances, make them beat you the long run. And you see it. That's with Clemson. They're going to put their blitz pickup.
Going to star 29.
Yeah. But I would go, if I'm Syracuse, I got a blitz to get off. Take my chances and stop the run. If they beat me over the top, so be it. They're going to beat me anyway eventually. At least that's what's been happening so far early on.
Well, Syracuse burns another timeout. They've used all of them. Time for the Pacific Life game summary. Clemson 282 yards of offense. Syracuse just 116, 66 of that on one play. The touchdown run by Jerome Smith that has the crowd back to life. Sammy Watkins been on the sideline for quite a while now for Clemson. 3rd down, less than a yard. Boyd looked like a design run all the way. He spins forward, doesn't get there. Back to the line, and that's all. Micah Robinson the first to hit him. And now Dabo Sweeney will have a decision to make.
Well, the decision by Chuck Buller was to blitz. You see the linebackers hitting it, playing run all the way, taking away Taj Boyd in his kind of counter read ISO play for the quarterback. Good call by Scott Schaefer and Chuck Buller. Little surprise, Sean, there that they did not audibilize, meaning Clemson, seeing that blitz coming.
Looks like they're going to measure. Looks like based on where the official on the far sideline was running in, he was running right along the black line that you saw on your screen, which was the line of scrimmage. in which case he'd be about a half yard short. And that's about what it is. And it looks like Coach Sweeney's going to go for it. He's had a very successful run at Clemson in his 5th full year. One of the lingering criticisms has been the performance away from home, just 11-12. This has been a very strong road performance, and now they aren't going to go for it, at least not out of a traditional offensive formation. Certainly a part of the field you might expect to fake. Bradley Pinion out there, Richie Desir back deep. And they will punt it. Nose up spiral. Late fair catch signal made by Richie Desir. 41-yard punts tonight on ESPN. A terrific matchup on a Saturday loaded with them. Undefeated Pac-12 rivals square off. Washington taking on Stanford. That's at 10:30 tonight on ESPN. Also live on Watch ESPN. Part of Tailgate Week, fired up by Kingsford Charcoal. Washington beat the Cardinals last year. Great start for the Huskies, 4-0 for the first time in 12 years.
Look at the quarterback, Kevin Hogan for Stanford, and Price from Washington, also an outstanding quarterback that's bounced back this year from a tough year last year.
An injured Clemson player on the field. From our vantage point, we cannot pick up his number, and obviously you never want to speculate if you don't know. Comes to an injury. It's Travis Blanks walking off under his own power. Well, Syracuse with a chance to get right back into the football game here. They could manage to score on this possession starting from its own 27.
I think you keep pounding them. Give it to Jerome. Feed the hot hand. Ride the horse.
And they do. It's Smith. Syracuse has been a power football team for a while. His 1,000-yard season of a year ago made it 5 straight years that Syracuse has had a 1,000-yard rusher.
You got a new safety in there, number 20, Curse. You might want to test him to see if he knows what's going on.
Johnson says, all right, enough of that nonsense. And Grady Jarrett dumps Jerome Smith for a 1-yard loss.
He's good. He's really, you can't move him. Very quick. And Curse heard me call him out, and Curse helped on the tackle. The cousin of Javon Curse, the great pass rusher in the NFL.
Prince Tyson Gully comes in at running back now. Excellent pass receiver, caught 33 last year. Hunt throws quickly, and it's caught by Ashton Broyle for a first down. Dragged down by Martin Jenkins at the 43-yard line. Gain of 14.
Now, size matters right here. Broyle uses his big body. You can see the mismatch in size, is able to get inside to secure the catch for the first down.
He's 6'2", 221. Hunt keeps. And he's ahead for about 2. Corey Crawford made the stop.
I like the fact, Sean, they went downfield a little bit too. Just go downfield to keep them honest, because the less you go downfield, the more antsy those safeties get.
2nd and 9. 5-man rush, and the pass incomplete. Trying to jam it in, Jared West. And it was broken up by Bashad Breeland, the cornerback for Clemson, junior out of Allendale, South Carolina.
Now, looking ahead, I've been watching Hunt, what he's doing. Because he's young, he's staring down his receivers, and the Clemson defensive backs and linebackers are getting a great jump on his ball.
Well, like Boyd, Hunt hasn't thrown an interception all season long, and movement by the right tackle, Ivan Foy, flagged again.
False start. Offense number 72, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
One of the strengths of this Syracuse team is considered to be the offensive line, anchored in the middle by Mackie McPherson, the center, being his 30th consecutive start, the grandson of the legendary College Football Hall of Famer and former Syracuse coach Dick McPherson, who's here with his beautiful wife Sandra.
It was our honor to have dinner with Coach on Thursday night. Humbling experience for me. What a great guy.
You and he went into the same class of the College Football Hall of Fame. Deep throw, and it is intercepted by Breland. He had coverage on West, and he picked it off. So now the only quarterback in the game who hasn't thrown an interception this year is Taj Boyd.
Well, if you're long, you're never wrong. You've heard me say that before. He underthrows this. And take a look again at the athlete that Breland brings down. Just goes up vertically, catches the ball at the highest point. And if you're Syracuse, again, you're shooting yourself in the foot with the penalties. They might not have had to call that play if they didn't jump off sides to put them in 3rd and 12, which is tough to get.
Sammy Watkins back on the field, so perhaps just a little bit of a breather for him. After the play fake, it's dumped off in the flat. Stanton Seckinger, the tight end, near midfield with a first down for Clemson. Cameron Lynch made the tackle for Syracuse. One position where they don't have tremendous depth is at wide receiver. Only 6 receivers on scholarship now. Dabo Sweeney said he'd like to have 10. They lost Sharon Peak, their number 2 receiver for the year, with an ACL. But the guys they have, Chris, certainly look the part. Zach Brooks crossed midfield to the 49. We were on the field before the game, and you look at Martavis Bryant, and you look at Watkins, and you look at just about every scholarship receiver they have. They look like NFL wide receivers in body type.
And even Scott Schaefer came over and said, man, they're pretty, aren't they? I said, don't look, Coach.
There's a quick strike. And that's Martavis Bryant to the 35-yard line. There is a flag down back near the line of scrimmage.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 52. 15-yard penalty, the end of the run, first down.
Eric Kroom called for the penalty.
Well, they're going to call it, and that's what they call. And it looked to me like Eric tried to pull up on Taj Boyd to no avail.
14th play of 10 yards or more for Clemson. More than 10 minutes left in the first half. Zach Brooks, the sophomore, around right end. Down at the 17-yard line, Marquise Sproul, Rashard Anderson on the stop.
The thing about stopping Clemson, everybody talks about their offense. Taj Boyd, Sammy Watkins, that's what we hear. They are good everywhere. And to your point about 6 wide receivers, all of them are good. It makes them very difficult to defend.
Watkins off the field again. He did look like he was feeling some discomfort last time we saw him on the sideline. Throw to the end zone, caught, touchdown, Seckinger.
Well, you're going to get him in man-to-man coverage. And Seckinger, number 181, just runs an out and up. He has the height advantage. He has the speed advantage. And Cameron Lynch was looking behind the quarterback. And if he's even, he's leaving if you're looking.
Third touchdown pass of the half for Taj Boyd. Taylor Catanzaro kicks the extra point. Taj Boyd engineers another quick drive. Just 1:32 to go, 68 yards, 5 plays. It's 28-7.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Heineken. Open your world. Enjoy responsibly.
Syracuse, not far from the campus, high on the hill. Kitty Hoyne, their award-winning clam chowder. They won a lot of cook-offs. They're the reigning Winterfest champions of Central New York.
Does that compete with Boston's clam chowder?
Bradley Pinion will kick off. George Morris and Devontae McFarland back deep. High and down at the 5-yard line to McFarland. Great coverage by Clemson. And again, they stop McFarland short of the 20. Jamon Hopper leading the coverage unit. No, Boyd's a Heisman hopeful, and he is certainly enhancing his candidacy with this performance today.
Well, the one thing I like about him is he has all the intangibles like we talked about in the open, but his intelligence. He's a smart football player who protects the ball, and he knows the offense so well that he understands the weaknesses of defense, reads it, and executes, and he throws a very catchable ball, usually in stride.
He's 13 out of 15 for 264 and 3 touchdowns. Also rushed for 11 yards. Here's Jerome Smith, a 66-yard touchdown run for the only Syracuse score. Shaq Lawson, the true freshman who they think is a future star. Might be a star already. Had 2.5 tackles for a loss in that Thursday night win at NC State. That was one of those games when they struggled on the road, but in the end defeated the Wolfpack.
And nowadays, freshmen don't look like freshmen. At least at Clemson, they don't look like freshmen.
Terrell Hunt in trouble and spun down, sacked back at the 19. DJ Reader, who doubles as a first baseman on Jack Leggett's outstanding Clemson baseball team. I haven't seen many 325-pound first basemen before. He got into 7 games last year. I'd imagine it's hard to throw one past him.
That, or I'd have him just step in the baseline once in a while. It'd be an intimidating force down there.
3rd down and 11. Hunt throws it behind Jared West. A 3 and out. Clemson through the first 4 games had forced 25 3 and outs. 9th best in the country. And they played a couple of pretty good teams, in particular Georgia, that rousing win to start the year. At home 38-35. Which will certainly help them down the road if they're involved in the national championship picture. Dixon got the punt off under some pressure, and a fair catch made by Adam Humphries. At the 44. 37-yard punt. Back inside the Carrier Dome, time for today's Aflac trivia question.
Aflac.
You want to know who was the last ACC player to finish in the top 5 of the Heisman Trophy Award balloting? Good chance that Taj Boyd could finish in the top 5 this year. Was it C.J. Spiller? Perhaps, perhaps not. How's that for help? Here's DJ Howard. Now to the 48. Here's Shannon Spake.
Well, Sean, I've been watching Sammy Watkins the last couple minutes. I don't see him favoring anything significantly. He's actually had his helmet on for the last couple minutes, standing on the sideline. The trainer told me there's nothing significant, there's nothing to report, so we'll just continue to watch him. Meanwhile, Travis Blanks, the safety, is on the bench with ice on his knee, will be reevaluated at half.
After the fake, lofted out to the tight end, Sam Cooper. What a story he is, young man who tore an ACL in their spring game in April. Figured he'd be out for the year. He was back on September 7th, 5 months after he had surgery on that ACL, and he was a big part of their win at NC State.
He's on that Adrian Peterson recovery plan.
They're feeling it now. Here's Bryant in the end zone. 4th touchdown pass of the half for Taj Boyd. We're not midway through the second quarter. 40-yarder this time to get him over 300 yards for the game.
Well, it's communication again. This has been a problem. Watch Keon Lynn right here. He doesn't know what's happening. By the time he figures out what's happening, Martavius is down the field past him. And again, it's communication breakdown, and Clemson operates so fast that they'll make you pay every time if there's a lack of communication in the back end.
Catanzaro adds the extra point. They've had 5 touchdown drives in the game. 4 of them have taken less than 2 minutes. Time to answer today's Aflac trivia question. We want to know the last player to finish in the top 5 of the Heisman Trophy Award voting. I know the answer. Do you want to guess?
Was it Wenke? Quarterback from Florida State?
Oh, you cheated.
Why do I?
You cheated. You saw his picture in the truck yesterday. I knew you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. I know that you did. That was way back in 2000. That's unbelievable. They haven't had a player in the top 5 in the Heisman Trophy balloting on the ACC since then. Of course, Chris was 28 years old. Went to Florida State after playing professional baseball. Bradley Pinion, his kickoff is a touchback. C.J. Spiller finished 6th. Matt Ryan 7th. There have been some players who got a lot of votes, but nobody in the top 5. I think after today, there's a better chance than at the start of the day that Taj Boyd will at least be in the top 5 this year.
Chad Morris was talking about finding their rhythm, and Taj Boyd has found his rhythm. I mean, they're doing what they want to do, and Sean, they're as explosive on offense as anybody that we've seen. We've seen 4 of the top 8 teams in the country, but the difference with Clemson this year is their defense. They're sound, they're smart, and their front 7 has depth, and they get after you.
Nowhere to go for Prince Tyson Gully. And this homecoming crowd that was so supportive at the start of the day is starting to get a little restless as Grady Jarrett made his presence felt again.
Well, the key to being a good defensive lineman is get off. You got to get off the ball, and he is beating the offensive lineman who knows the snap count off the ball and into the backfield. So you might want to start trying to hard count number 50 because he's so quick.
Hunt under duress throws another interception. Darius Robinson has this one. He was trying to get it to Chris Clark, and Robinson wouldn't allow that to happen. His 2nd interception of the season.
Well, mental mistakes and non-mental mistakes. Right here, Robinson just plays the route and jumps the route. Now Chris Clark has to help his buddy out right here. He's got to fight to get across the face of Robinson. He gives up a little bit, and Robinson was able to finish, understanding routes, jumping the route.
Well, Hunt realizing it really isn't as easy as it seemed as the starter last week when he made his first career start against Tulane. Taj Boyd throws on the run. It's Sandlot ball right now. That's out of bounds. Looks like they're dialing up anything they want to in the playground. Jamon Hopper was out of bounds. .391 yards of offense for Clemson. It has to be fun when you're Chad Morris. You have this kind of talent playing against an opponent that is overmatched. All out blitz. Lofted into single coverage and incomplete. Intended for Hopper again. Julian Wiggum, are you kidding me with that gesture? There's a scoreboard right over his right shoulder he might want to look at. And he's a backup who's in there today seeing more action because of the injury to Brandon Reddish. I mean, here's somebody who is just totally unaware.
Yeah, and you're right, Sean. And I think that a dose of humility would do Julian well. But again, you're looking at Clemson, and the thing, they're not going to let up. They're going to continue to attack, as the previous 2 play calls suggest.
Out of the pistol on 3rd and 10 for Clemson. From the Syracuse 30. 5-man rush. Boyd stays on his feet and is finally sacked back at the 35-yard line by Jay Bromley, senior out of Jamaica, New York. One of the best players on that Syracuse defense. Team high 5th sack of the year for Bromley.
Pretty solid number for a defensive tackle. A lot of times those guys don't rack up those sacks in the inside position.
What about his story? He was a senior in high school, graduated from high school in June after his senior high school, hadn't signed to play with anybody, got invited to play in the New York area All-Star game, the New York City All-Stars against Long Island. He went and played. He wound up being the MVP. The Syracuse coaches called him the next day. Had no offers. Timeout called by Clemson. Play clock was running down. 52-yard field goal. Wiped out. Actually, they didn't get the timeout. The delay of game penalty comes first. Catanzaro has a big leg. He's made his last 10 field goals. He's made 30 of his last 31. The only miss was a 48-yarder at Wake Forest last year. But now that they move it back 5 yards, they're not going to try the field goal. So Bradley Pinion on to punt, and Richie Desir's back deep. And the Clemson special teams excel again, downing it inside the 5. Rashad Breeland, starting cornerback down there. 35-yard punt. With his win last week at Dover, Jimmy Johnson now bumper to bumper with the points leader, Matt Kenseth. Isn't that clever? Can Kenseth hold off JJ this week? Return to the winner's circle, one of his favorite tracks. Chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup continues at Kansas, presented by Dodge Trucks. Tomorrow at 1 on ESPN, also live on Watch ESPN. Have you memorized your one NASCAR fact for the week?
I'm boldly predicting a win for my favorite driver, JJ.
And do you know his name?
Jimmy Johnson,
there
right?
you go.
Yeah.
Wasn't quite sure, but well done. Jerome Smith carries for about 2. And of course, you predicted that because yesterday our NASCAR expert, Shannon Spake, told you that she liked Jimmy Johnson, didn't you, Shannon?
I'm wondering, Chris, do you know what number Jimmy Johnson drives? Here's the question.
Yeah, how about the 48 car?
Woo, look
Whoa.
at that.
Nice.
I bet you our buddies out there in Kansas wish that they had a dome. I heard it's really cold out there, and there was some weather that moved in last night, so wishing they were indoors this weekend.
Yeah, it's Sean, it's a stock car, not a
There you
NASCAR.
go.
It's a stock car. They get upset if you call it.
Now, don't expose your total lack of knowledge now. Quit while you're tied.
Another proud mama moment, guys.
I can tell that. Hunt through an incomplete pass, 3rd and 8. Shannon mentioned the weather. It is very warm and stuffy as usual in here, but that hasn't been a problem for Clemson. Incomplete pass intended for Jeremiah Kobina. A lot of talk during the week. They had never played here before. This is a dome, but it's different than the Georgia Dome, which is big and cavernous. Here the ceiling's lower, as you can see from that shot. The fans are right on top of you. There's no air conditioning, which has always been one of the most interesting aspects of a building named for an air conditioning company.
Yeah, the irony. I played in the Pontiac Silverdome, and it used to get really stuffy in there. In fact, Sean, teams from Tampa or Miami would come in and play the Lions. We'd have an advantage over them because they weren't used to that type of atmosphere.
Plus, people could smoke in the building back then, too.
then
It really added to the enjoyment.
A nice circle of lucky strikes about midway through the first quarter.
Here's Humphreys, who's caught 2 long touchdown passes. Nice punt return to the Syracuse 49. 50-yard punt by Dixon. 8-yard return. Here's Chris Cotter.
Sean, an historic day for Aaron Murray here, finding Rontavious Wooten for the score. Earlier on the drive, he became the SEC's all-time leading passer. Georgia leading Tennessee right now 17-3. About 1 minute and 50 left to go in the first half there at Neyland Stadium.
Of course, every win for Georgia, you would think, helps Clemson when it comes to the polls. Dabo Swinney said he pays no attention to the polls at this time of the year. They want to be nationally relevant at the end of the year. Good play by Julian Wiggum. This time he didn't get up and celebrate it as he dumped Roderick McDowell for a loss. I have a feeling the coaches might have had a chat with Julian when he got to the sideline.
Yeah, I think you have to. You know, you make your name known by making plays, not by trying to act for a play. Just go out and play football, do your job, set the example through your actions, not your words or your gestures.
As you said at the outset, Taj Boyd said this Syracuse team did more talking during the week than any team they've ever played. Probably not doing a lot of talking right now. The good hit delivered on the catch made by Bryant, which is the more important part of the play. Darius Kelly gave him a pretty stern belt along the boundary of the 28, but it's another 25-yard gain.
Yeah, well, Chad Morris and everybody else in the world wanted to see him live up to his potential. Right there he did, understanding he was going to get a shot to the chest, was able to pull the pass down by Taj Boyd.
McDowell dragged down after a 2-yard gain by Jay Bromley. We go down to 4 minutes left in the half. Clemson leading 35-7, looking for more. Sammy Watkins still on the sideline. If he does have a little nick, no reason to have him out there with the way this is going. High throw and an interception by Julian Wiggum. The first interception of the year thrown by Clemson. It was intended for Mike Williams. Second interception of the year for Wiggum, sophomore from West Palm Beach.
Yeah, he's providing a spark, and really the first poorly thrown ball by Taj Boyd. Even Mike Williams, who has great leaping ability, couldn't bring it down. And I love the position of Wiggum right here, not in front and going up and making an athletic catch to give Syracuse some type of spark.
Entering this weekend, the only teams in the country that had not thrown at least one interception were Clemson, New Mexico, and Oregon. And of those three, Clemson, particularly Taj Boyd, had thrown many more pass attempts than New Mexico or Oregon. It's the third turnover of the year for Clemson. One of those is on a punt return. In trouble, Smith dumped behind the line of scrimmage, back near the 2 by Vic Beasley, the outstanding defensive end for Clemson.
Yeah, Vic Beasley came in as a running back, didn't work out, tried him at tight end, didn't work out, but the athlete, why don't you go play defense? He said, all right, well, 6 sacks this year, and right there, a TFL, tackle for loss. Great quickness off the ball.
Was 235 pounds, started the day tied with Aaron Donald, NC State for the lead in sacks in the ACC. Jerome Smith out to the 5. Robert Smith dropped him for a loss, and the clock runs down to 3 minutes to go in the half. Oh, Clemson getting greedy. Timeout. I wonder if they really need it, because as quickly as they have scored, 3 minutes is more than enough time. They could score several times in 3 minutes.
Well, the way they've been executing, I think for them, I mean, they're trying to make a statement. And it seems today's day and age of college football, the more you run up the score, the more you get noticed, especially on the road against what they thought would be a little bit stiffer competition.
And this is a little early to consider, I think, running up the score. But you're right. The BCS polls are about to start appearing, the BCS standings. We saw Florida State last week at Boston College, probably a similar level of opponent as Syracuse is for Clemson here today. And watching both teams in person week to week, what do you think?
I think it's pretty close. I mean, 2 great quarterbacks. Jameis Winston, outstanding. Taj Boyd, his numbers today are off the charts. And I think this, Sean, and a lot of people don't like when I say this, but it's not Clemson's job to stop Clemson. It's Syracuse's job to stop Clemson.
Prince Tyson Gully carries. Crowd boos the play call. Josh Watson and Spencer Shuey made the tackle. And it's interesting because, as fans of Clemson well know, in the ACC, Florida State and Clemson go head-to-head in 2 weeks. That'll be at Clemson. Certainly today, neither team has looked ahead, as Florida State annihilated Maryland at home 63-0. The Terps were undefeated going there. We didn't think our game might be less competitive, but this might turn out to be just that.
Yeah, and Maryland got exposed a little bit today, and we'll see if they bounce back, but clearly the class of the ACC.
Riley Dixon, another good punt. Not a good thing, though, when your punter's the star of the day. One of the stars of the day for Clemson is Adam Humphries. And he's ridden out of bounds deep in Syracuse territory. Marcus Coleman made the tackle. Florida State's off next week, while Clemson will be at home entertaining Boston College, which is out of the league today, playing Army. Glad that game was able to be played after the questions about whether or not it would be with the shutdown of some of the government.
Georgia Tech always presents a problem. Now, which Georgia Tech are you going to get? I mean, you can get the very good Georgia Tech that's difficult to stop, or one that stumbles a little bit. And of course, they end their year against the Gamecocks, South Carolina.
If they get past that Florida State hurdle, that would look like really the only even semi-tough game left for them. Here's Hopper taking a handoff. Of course, in recent years, the term Clemsoning, I know their fans are tired of hearing it. They seem to lose a game or two that they shouldn't lose. Well, lately they're just hammering everybody they play. This is going to be, unless it turns dramatically, their 13th consecutive double-digit win over an unranked opponent.
And they're playing with a little bit of chip on their shoulder too, Sean, which is always nice.
They've already proven the point that that Clemsoning thing is a thing of the past. But if they haven't, they're putting it to bed today. Mike Williams a catch. They started the day with 19 different players having caught a pass this season. It seems like it's been at least that many here in the first half today.
Yeah, for not having a lot of receivers, they have a lot of receivers.
Yes. Only UCLA has more players, more different players who caught a pass with 20. Syracuse actually had 19 as well to tie Clemson for second. So that's largely, as Boyd ran down near the 5, that's largely when you're playing Wagner and Tulane and everybody gets in the game.
Well, it's a difference maker, and we talked about it with Terrell Hunt. I mean, some of the passes that he was completing, they were good passes, but they were just a tad late. And that's just because he's a young quarterback. Well, today, those passes are either getting knocked down, guys are reading routes. It's just a different level of competition.
Pistol for Boyd, who's thrown for 363 in the half. Zach Brooks took the hit and kept churning the legs down to the 2. Terrell Eskridge made the tackle. 3rd down and goal. Couple of timeouts for the Tigers if they need them.
It's one guy, Eskridge, that Chuck Bula and Scott Schaefer are excited about. Out of Miami, Florida. Big physical safety right there. Did a good job of filling the hole like a linebacker.
And they scored on the 3rd play from scrimmage. Are they going to score on one of the last plays of the half? Not on that one, at least. Jay Bromley penetrated to dump Zach Brooks for loss back at the 5.
Well, celebrating. You want to play with enthusiasm, but if you're going to celebrate, I got an idea. Celebrate with your team and your defense. Rally each other up. Don't get that camera pointed 1, 2, 3 me. It's still 1, 2, 3 team.
And Scott Schaefer won't like that. He came here with Doug Marrone. The program was way down after the Greg Robinson era. They won only 10 games in 4 years. And a lot of it that they had to do, it's a cliche about changing the culture, but they did. They had a lot of players they were honest with and said, you're probably not going to play. You can stay if you want, but if you want help to transfer someplace else where you might play, we'll help you. And there was a lot of discipline in this program that they handed down. People here locally wondered, how can you do that? That's one of your best players. Doug Marrone, Scott Schaefer, and that stuff, they didn't care. They knew there was a lot of things that needed to change, and they changed them. Scott Schaefer won't like some of that stuff we've seen in the half.
No, he won't. And the thing that Scott needs to do, and any coach with this type of, rebuilding project, it's all about recruiting. College football coaching is 95% recruiting. It's talent. All these guys know X's and O's. So that's where they have to win. They have to win against guys that maybe they didn't think they had a shot at. They got to go take a shot at a 5-star, at a 4-star, especially in this area, and especially where high school football is really good, New Jersey.
Wow, they're going for it on 4th down. 4th and goal. Well, this might fall into the category you're talking about style points. Boyd dumped for a loss. Jay Bromley again.
Good job by Jay Bromley. Penetrating. That was a quarterback run option to little pop pass. And you see Scott Schaefer. I
don't blame Scott Schaefer at all.
He has to do that because his kids are taking his lead. Now the coaching point is to get them on the sidelines and celebrate with your team off of that.
But he was directing that at the other sideline. He did not like the fact that they went for the touchdown there ahead 35-7 in lieu of the field goal. And I think it's what you're talking about. You used the phrase running it up. To me, what Dabo Sweeney just did is borderline running it up. Maybe that's what you have to do in this day and age, but it stinks.
And some people like it, some people don't. Look, as I said again, Sean, it's Clemson's job not to stop Clemson. And I understand both sides of the argument.
Seeds are planted in a rivalry. Yeah. Syracuse went to Nebraska in 1983. Nebraska with a huge lead, onside kick, hammered Syracuse that day. Syracuse used that as motivation for a year. Number one Nebraska came here the next year and lost 17-9. Those kinds of things can last a long time. Halftime, here's Shannon.
We noticed that Sammy Watkins hasn't been playing most of this game. What's going on with him?
He hasn't been playing most of this game? I think he's played pretty good. Well, we just working our guys. It's 35-7, and we feel comfortable where we are, trying to get a lot of guys in the game. He's made a couple nice plays, but biggest I'm frustrated on that last drive right there. Last two possessions, we should have come away with some points. But defense is playing great. Taj Boyd's been outstanding. Our protection's been really good, with the exception of the last couple of miscues. But good first half. Hopefully we can keep it going second half.
You mentioned the last two drives. Was there a conversation at all to go for the field goal instead of going for the touchdown?
We talked about it, but we're on the road. We got a 28-point lead. If we don't make the fourth down, we don't. If we kick it, then we got to kick off. Chance for a momentum play for them. But we just, let's try to get it. If they don't, then they're pinned back here, and let's get to the halftime.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thank you.
At the half, Clemson 439 yards of offense in a 35-7 lead. The halftime report right after these messages.